2019 seems to be the end of the era.
When we call and our friend says yes, and it's not a small yes, it's a big yes.
This podcast is rated R. I would have imagined all the kind of
to the pilot type.
the pilot type.
That is slightly silver pilot type.
You get a hat now.
I
But
know.
you know,
Sadly, architects got no uniform except wear black.
this podcast is rated R. No, this is a good change of pace, and I think maybe I'll do my intro now, which is to say, hi everyone, and welcome to another ArchitectuREAL, a special edition celebrating 20 years of Archifest. I'll be your host. My name is Razvan Gilik Miku, and I am really excited to welcome Alan Tate.
Hello, Alan
Chong Keng Hua,
Hi, Keng Hua.
Ku Bang Bang,
Hello.
and Belinda Hung.
Hello.
Fellow festival directors. We were also the same cohort, give or take, 2019 all the way to 2022. So let's just jump straight into it. Before we get into the details of each of your Archifest and your themes and what you went through, I'm just looking for that first gut reaction to what did it feel like to get handed the keys to Archifest. Maybe we'll start here.
Can't even remember now. It's so long ago. I think it felt really. At that point, I think it was like after
COVID.
After COVID.
Yeah.
And we were working on the Paya Lebar airbase concept plan at that time, right? Together with quite a few architects and planners. So it felt like, wow, there was a moment when, we were all sort of gathering around thinking about the future of our city. And then, we were invited to do the Archifest. So it kind of felt like there was a serendipitous moment where, we were all trying to figure out the future together, because COVID was really disruptive for us as practices, as business, and even for our entire city. So it felt like almost like a reset for the whole moment.
I think it was also quite just after COVID. So I think it took a while for the planning to come out. Is it going to happen? Where it's going to happen? And when they finally made that decision, I think we had like really a few months only, a very, very short time to get it together. And I remember the first thing that they say is, there's no time. There's no need for pavilions. There's no way we can get it up.
Right.
And then we went, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were given a constraint and you heard challenge and opportunity, didn't you?
Yeah, it's like, how can we not post-COVID
Something,
to have something that you could touch, you could see, So
things had to come together, because we also didn't want competition. It felt a bit strange after COVID when we are like fighting for our lives, and then suddenly compete to get your pavilion built. It didn't feel like that was really
Right
resonating with the
Yeah.
moment.
and that's why Order of Love came. We just it was tough, wasn't it? COVID was tough, right? For the world. So
Well, as the 2021 festival director, I can tell you, and I'll expand a bit more on it, but it was crazy kind of stop, start, adjust. It felt like a festival of like 3 different speeds.
And I remember having a conversation with you about your experience, and also with Keng Hua. So with the decision not to have a competition meant that, we have to be more inclusive, which meant that, we had to find more sponsors.
Right.
Yeah.
and friends.
And friends that we could really call to say, okay, I'm going to pledge something quickly. Yeah.
And instead of one pavilion, you had how many?
7.
I was involved in one.
Yeah.
So,
That was
you could not stay
amazing.
away from Archifest. So how did it feel? How did it feel in 2020 after Alan's edition when you got the phone call?
Yeah, actually, I thought that it was just going to be just another Archifest, where everybody will gather around. I give a very rowdy speech and things like that.
Right.
In the end, suddenly COVID struck.
Yeah.
So that was really, whatever they were planned, everything went down to drain. It was a crazy moment. And even I think because at that time we didn't even know whether there will be a Archifest or not.
Right.
Because that was a really uncertain
Yeah.
moment, right? Suddenly we were locked down. Suddenly we were circuit breaker at the time, right? And then we were just thinking, wow, it feel like at the end of the world.
Yeah.
So we just had to pause everything. But fortunately, somehow, the theme that we came out with was actually before what happened,
Right.
before the pandemic. So we had a hard time actually, to be honest, to try to sell the theme, architecture saving our world, or the world at first. They were saying, saving what? No one's there to save. And
But
then
with COVID, so now you gotta like, whoa, the air, everything, airflow,
in a way, there's
people
a blessing.
flow.
we got to be very careful asking you to name things.
Okay.
Yeah. Be careful what you name things.
I mean, it's tragic. I'm not trying to make it like too lighthearted, but it is something that very serious that's happening. We were actually really reflective what we are gonna do about our city, our life, how to move on. So it is a serious topic, and I think as architects and architectural researchers, scholars, academics, we do bear that responsibility to respond. I think that's where we come from, right? So still we want to have fun, even during that time. So we want to. We were planning for 100 event. We were also ambitious, and then how do we translate that 100 event into a virtual world?
Yeah.
And when we finally got a go ahead, it was like maybe left about 2-3 months, and it was really charging all the way.
Yeah.
And so from then on it's like non-stop. But we were very, very lucky. I think many people come to us to help out. I think all of you also respond, and then I remember I was having call almost every hour with any one of you, and then we'll say how to create all this program. And we get to know Zoom the first time, how to use them, familiarize ourselves. I remember we also invited at that time Mr. Desmond Lee, who was the Minister for National Development, and he agreed, even though it's such a short time and hard time, but he couldn't come. I mean, there's no physical event anyway.
Yeah.
So we had to bring our whole crew to his office and film there and there for his speech and everything. It was such a
It just
memorable,
changes the logistics altogether.
yeah,
doesn't it?
everything changed. But we think it's a blessing in disguise. Because of that, we are able to go international.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
that's really
Yeah.
something that before that we couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Our conference went hybrid,
Yeah.
and so it grew to like 800 participants.
Yeah. And then because it's the first time, I mean, everybody living in the bubble now, everybody is so willing to come out and share. So almost everyone, all the architects, international architects we approach, almost everyone said yes.
Said yes.
It's like, wow, this really feel very, very thankful for us. Yeah.
How about you, Alan?
Hearing-
2019,
yeah,
the year just before things.
Just before COVID.
I mean,
Different era.
hearing from you guys, this is amazing. Don't you agree? It's awfully timely in the way that 2019 seems to be the end of the era, when end of the old how things are done always before you just go Zoom and your connection suddenly exploded, right?
Yeah.
To globally and 2019 was interesting. The idea of craft. If COVID strikes in 2019, I think that's the end. Everything is physical. The program plan was about making, about craft, workmanship. The idea of the physical context is important. The immediacy with the object is something that's although we dealt with digital, but I think if it's in that realm, it will be altogether different, right? And I think such interesting progression that we have this 2019 and then next thing,
2020.
the switch and the team aligned naturally, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it was 2019 was really was from the perspective of organizing it. I was also, I think architects has this thing about just putting everything together in one basket. I was also curating for Design Singapore, Singapura,
Yeah.
earlier of the year, and but it was interesting that continuity of events for the team that kind of organize and carry through. So we
Right.
have, for us, is the entire year of curation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were riding on your momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, 2021 was a pretty interesting one because on one hand, it felt like a bit of a continuation of 2020, but with hopefulness. Because if you remember around March, April, May, we suddenly we were able to go out again and dine. And then around June, or groups of 5, which was already good. And unfortunately, about a month and a bit before the festival was due to start, we went back to 2 packs per table. So I think the name of the game for 2021, and when I got the phone call, my first reaction was, are you sure? I don't think any Archifest director gets the phone call and goes like, yes, I've been preparing for this my entire life. And of course, I'm the obvious choice. I think all of us go in with a bit of a, maybe not imposter syndrome, but one of those, I remember all these editions that I was a part of, and they're so difficult to pull together. That's what we were talking about in the previous podcast, which is every Archifest feels like a minor miracle, that it somehow comes together, and it's a crowdsourced miracle. And in many ways, 21 felt that way, where, after the first, the 5 stages of disbelief, after the first phone call with SI going like, are you sure you got the right number? You want me to do it? Because I had just taken on Singapore Architect magazine. And then I think the next stage is like Oral Architects, you just spring to action. And you're like, okay, let's figure out how to Archifest. But how to Archifest on multiple speeds, because what I saw in your year that I felt was fantastic is the ability to reach across the world, where distances got conflated to a click on the Zoom call. So we wanted this idea of design evidence to really bring the best of everything to Singapore. And I think throughout the festival, we tried to be as nimble as possible, because we realized if we plan everything airtight, it'll crack. So how can we think of a festival that has enough substance to survive on half of the events that we hoped to do, that has enough flexibility to grow twice the size that we were hoping to do, and then events that could be just as well executed online as they would be in person, or hybrid like you did as well. So it was like riding a cyclone in a way, where you kind of just try to enjoy the ride. And I'll tell you, the night after the festival ended, I slept like, maybe the baby's not the right, I slept like a baby on NyQuil and Sudafed. It was just one of those kind of sleeps, and then you wake up the next day and someone asks, would you do it again? And I said, give me at least half a decade to recover. Call me after 2026.
It was intense, really intense.
I think there's a kind of hopefulness. Like architects, we just continue, right?
Yeah.
With COVID, we continue. With recovery, we continue. And that kind of energetic, like optimism, like the spirit of, I think I remember there's quite a lot of events and stuff that just got stopped and stalled, right, during COVID.
Yeah.
But somehow we managed to just keep going and just to keep inventing new ways to do what we needed to do. I think that's a testimony to sort of the spirit of the architect, I would say.
Actually, the thing that I enjoyed most during Archifest is it's really when we call and our friend says yes, and it's not a small yes. It's a big yes. Can you do a pavilion? Yes. and there's no material, there's no design. We were scrambling.
Nobody asked for budget, right?
No, didn't even ask for budget. And last minute, we were still scrambling to get donations for materials.
Right.
So it was just incredible that everybody sort of jumped in and said yes, because 7 pavilions was some crazy idea we had. But we just wanted so that community, within our own industry, the community of architects was something that popped up. When NUS TES could come in and do a pavilion as well, and we had all the other architects as well. And then the one that I enjoyed most is when we had the we did it in the World Cafe format.
Yeah.
And we had all the pioneers coming in, and all of them were sitting in their tables holding card, and they were just speaking from the heart. So we love that connection from the young to the pioneers, right?
Yeah, talk to me more about that, because I think something that comes up in every conversation with past festival directors is the importance of that community of architects, non-architects, affiliated, related, unrelated, the whole ecosystem around the city of coming. It's not just a festival that we hang out once a year and pat each other's backs for great projects, although doing a little bit of that is also good for the heart.
Yes.
But it's about all the champions
Yeah,
of Archifest that make it possible every
Yeah.
year. What
So-
were some of the unexpected collaborations or really kind of miraculous tests that you did in your year that you felt could be something that we can explore more of?
I think this Archifest is that one event. I mean, all of us put it in. We whatever we got paid, we just threw it all in for I'm sure every one of us did that as well. So it wasn't about the how much, right? But we are such busy beings. When we go back into our practice or into our work, right, we just sort of vanish into that world.
Yeah.
So this is that one space that you can really feel the friendship. And in our case, we could there's no way we could have done it if they didn't say yes. No way. It's not something that both of us could have pulled it out, not with. I think we had, I don't know how many months. I think it was 3 or 4 months
3
only.
months, I think.
It was a really short timing, and that's why when they got us in, they said there's no need for pavilions. But miraculously that happened, and only because they're friends, and not just friends. That there were people who believed that we needed to say what we needed to say that year.
I think it's super interesting because at that time when we were contemplating the P Lab, we were talking about well-being and how the intangibles become an anchor for how we express the artifact or the object or the material. I think you said the end of the era was the craft, but the craft actually went into the immaterial in a sense, right? The ether and the everything and I think being able to focus on relationship and connection was what we were very much into. I think based on our reading of well-being, actually connection and human relationship is one of the primary sources of well-being and happiness.
Yeah.
Like if you do not have friends, you might have everything else in this world, but you might not be as happy, right?
Everyone's just yearning to come out again and have that in person. Because I sense that we were able to do what we did during COVID, which is to connect and keep those connections online, is because we had prior relationships offline with each other. And I dare say it did flatten the world in a way that was convenient for us, at least, to have multiple speakers from all around the world dialing in with zero carbon spent on jets. But at the same time, coming back to your festival after I held the conference very much like King Hua online, which was convenient for some. They could dial in from their office.
Much more professional than us.
In terms of the Zooming.
I was wow, I was just scrambling around, but yours is so professional.
We had a year to reflect, so I think without building on your initial blocks, we probably wouldn't have managed even half of what you did. So I think you being so resourceful in the face of adversity really taught us to be that resourceful. And I'll drop an anecdote later about a platform we used for the opening, because I understand it made a lot of people interested in using it as well. But I think for us, what was interesting during those initial months of planning was, given the uncertainty, how can we establish as many friendships and see how different players can enter the arena of Archifest with kind of an open mind. So in a sense, I did get questions around, how does Barkifest, because that was one of our events,
I remember that.
How does Barkifest relate to architecture? And of course, architects have the amazing ability to create those relationships between things that are not immediately relatable. The reality is the city is designed for non-human inhabitants. And we're more and more learning to design for and with nature. And I see all of my friends, look, we have a cat, so he's quite kind of confined by our apartment, but I know friends who have dogs who organize their weekends around places where they can go. So their experience of the city is different from people without. We had a long conversation with N Park, so that's an example. But also things like feng shui and other, that was an oversubscribed event as well, because it's all of those things and all of those connections that you leverage, you hedge your bets, and then you go, okay, some of these events might fall through. But Archifest was great because it was held at a pet-friendly cafe outdoors, so people can dine safely distanced and bring their doggies and talk about the city and whatnot, and that was great.
That's amazing.
I mean, the beauty and of course the motivation for all architecture, the Archifest directors will really be two things, right? You will surface something that you are passionate about, and the team will always align to something that you feel that you need to address at the moment in time. So craft was something that I loved, that I believe in. It's an intrinsic part of the core competence of architecture. This is what attracted me in the first place to architecture, right? And at the moment in time, it was, and that was before AI. Even AI, right? We are talking about parametrism, we are talking digital applications, we are talking about how in architecture production, right, is increasingly preface on expediency and efficiency, right? So where is the place in craft? And what is important, because it was important to me as a practice. So I think Archifest do allow festival directors at any point in time, period, right, to be able to do that, to address the issue that's close to heart, and at the same time build a community around it. And have a platform to discuss about it. So I thought this is amazing. It's happening since the Archifest started, right? And every year when we got a call for as a director, the first thing is, what team? Right. What team? So you look to the past, you look to what could be the future. And craft came out upon, I thought that seems no one is really talking about that. And something is close to my heart. So it happens.
And it's even more important now in the AI stage, right? That you really need to have the craft to be able to know what you want to
It
come
was
up with.
that moment that you rightly put it, that you saw Corbusier's model Rene was doing, right? I was that point in time, I was thinking, oh no, am I the only one doing still passionately making models beside Carrie Hill?
Of course.
Same Balsa thing, right? And I thought, so we want an exhibition. Instead of pavilion, we're having an exhibition that hopefully we could get all these drawings, makings, architects' production, rather than actual building.
I remember that.
So it was interesting.
It was beautiful.
The surprise was that we enticed the interest of the League of Young Architects from Indonesia. So they came passionately with their sectional model, their mock-ups and models. And students, there was from graduate students that brought their thesis work that demonstrated that aspect. So it was a space that allowed for that.
I think this is that conversation continues actually quite an eternal one, because today when we shift into AI, more and more we forget the body, like during COVID, we will be sitting all day and we are jumping from one meeting to the other. Do you remember that time? It was horrendous. It's actually worse than...
We're going to need to move.
Because without that, we were moving around, meetings and all that. But with the Zoom, we are just like literally one after the other.
Yeah, there's no reason to get out of pajamas.
Yeah. Like you just have to get off the top, right?
Yeah, it's just a professional top party in the morning.
Did you do that?
I did not. I even made a point to, because people would joke around, oh, you're wearing a blazer, what's below the blazer? So like I always had proper trousers,
Proper shorts.
It's just one of those things where I feel like after a while you also owe it to yourself to make your body feel good in the confines of your home, because if you're in your loungewear every single day, like
it's depressing.
Your body doesn't get the cues anymore.
Exactly.
What you're doing is my mind is thinking of work, but then I'm dressed like on a Sunday morning reading the paper. So there's a disconnect.
But this idea of embodiment, which is like making and all that, I feel will we will need to focus on that in the next generation of architects.
Exactly. Just so happened I have a very long conversation, deep conversation with our students yesterday. And they were lamenting that, everything is so much about efficiency. What about, the slow design process that they need to reflect and very reflexive in terms of the process and all that, which I was very encouraged to see our young people. They just don't just use AI blindly.
Yes.
They want to use hands to draw, to craft, to make things. And so the idea of craft is having that revival. In fact, we make it one of our 4 anchor principles for NAPA US now. Yeah, craft, care, courage, and culture.
See the impact that you're having?
See, and Alan is helping us to design our campus.
So there you go. I think that is a really important acknowledgement, because I think you, like you rightly said, we all set out, not from a place of ego, from a place of love. We all set out to look at a specific angle, out of personal curiosity, out of an acknowledgement that maybe there's something missing in the discourse, or something we might have forgotten, or something we want to learn about, or we want to share it with friends. So I'm curious on that note to hear from all of you. What did you set out during your year? What were you hoping for the audience to get out of it? If you feel like they did, or if there's also anything that was really surprising to hear that people got out of your year. And I'm curious to start with craft, since it seems like you have a lot of fans around the table.
I mean, we're architects.
We are.
I mean that it was a perfect chance to really discuss when the context, the environment is kind of like increasingly prioritizes over efficiency, right? That's why you have the machines you have, and how would this outdated, outdated effort of laborious effort, accumulation of experiences become relevant in that context? Or it is always relevant, perhaps easily forgotten. That conversation was interesting. It was also deepened to the extent of the discussion with at a moment in time, there's always the maker's culture, right? But you look at the maker's culture, there's a lot of cut paste. So which makes sense, because it kind of make things suddenly accessible. No longer the domain of the artisans or craftsmen, but craft could be relatable and accessible. But then other issues came about authorship, about then where that kind of discussion is being debated, and you can see that extending into the practice of architecture, right? And we have speakers that really talk about it. Foster Sam talk about craft, and Kevin McLow from KL talk about this pace culture come about.
It showed like this one lock he designed for a gate, like this
he's the one
locking mechanism, really zoomed in.
But he's just lamenting that even that sense of making could be copied. So authorship was sensitive. But of course, on the other side, SUTD was incredibly supportive, talking about robotics, right? You have this suddenly means, right? And it makes sense that you continue to think that how technology could be utilized, right, in the service of craft, not necessarily just service of easy fabrication and all that. But that discussion has to start. And I think that year was interesting to get really different side of the coming together to kind of debate about that, to discuss about.
Do you think the general public
and
got
that's
engaged
the
and involved?
thing.
Because
That was also
at
interesting.
face value, a lot of people might say, "Oh, Alan, you're doing this just for architects," and the architect's interested in technology.
Wow, so the survey, the program is important. That from layperson, they should understand. Okay, somehow craft is linked to what we are making. So what is craft? So we have pottery makings, we have silk screen, we have kintsugi. So which is art of repair, which ties back to many deeper issues, right? But through this act, right, or sketching, they could then begin to have inroads to understand. Okay, that's something perhaps not the inner working of architects, but some values that are important to as part of our work.
I think it extends to restoration, sustainability as well. That's really what we are all advocating for as well. So architecture is not just about keep building new and tear down everything, but it's about how we can sensitively restore some of the values, restore some of the humanity into the space that we're living in and into the community and so on and so on. And craft bring that aspects out as well.
So for your year, I mean, I know you set out and you had a lot of challenges, but
Yeah.
how do you gauge the way that your audience, however you want to define your audience, engage with the festival, what they got out of it?
So again, we challenge ourselves, say, okay, since it's going to be online, we don't just want to engage architects. We want to engage the young and the pioneer and everyone, right? Local and outside. So talk about the young. We launched this, I can't remember the name now, but it's like sketching competition, architecture sketching competition for primary school, secondary school, higher institution. And we're so amazed by the work they
Was
submitted.
that with B-Plab by chance?
I think they help out in some of the workshop, if I'm not wrong. I think they're involved some way.
Yeah.
But because it's online, so we just accept submission from all across the country. And we were just really blown away by some of the stuff that they do. And at such a young age, they can imagine our future city or our how our housing can be coexist with farms and things like that. They really address the issues that we are advocating, and can see that our young generation has really thoughtful and a lot of vision about the world. And we also have the ambassador from Switzerland to come down, and then because we can't have too many people, so we have to make sure that one student will come with one family member.
Right.
And then one person will
so
give out the gift and all that. But we have a good
Nice.
interaction
That's
with
nice.
each and every
Really
one of the
nice.
students. And we have the kids drawing exhibition at the National Library. That also gave us that kind of a stage to showcase our future generation of architects, perhaps. Totally different audience, but we really had a lot of fun.
And yet it's worth it.
And it's worth it. It's worth it, right? Yeah, because
Yes.
it literally affects generations, right?
Yes.
And I think that was the moment of like when you talk about saving the world, and I think accepting the messiness, and that every act of architecture is about making a little bit better, a little bit more orderly, for the people, and that's, to me, is love.
How about you, Belinda? How did you feel like you engaged with the audience? Did you get an emergent, different audience that you imagined? What were some of the conversations around the love conversation?
I'll start from the end. Basically, so many came up to us after that and say that this is lovely. This is really human, and I it's something that I can understand. It's something that is not so cerebral. It's something that I can feel,
Right.
and I think. And I was really, really, really happy. I mean, it's not as if I started off saying, "Yeah, that's what I want" at the end of it.
Right. You didn't have like a KPI list.
No, I
of course.
didn't. But I did know that because I'm also in the mental health care work as well, right? That COVID has really quite a deep impact. I think we're not even really seeing all of it even now, right? But yes, it's being isolated. It's being alone at home or wherever you are. We see a lot of impact on mental health, right? Just from COVID. So I think for me, particularly for me, that this is then a platform over and above what Pei Mei has said, that it is a space where we start to reconnect as human beings. Human-centeredness has always been what I believe in. I know it's King Hua's heart as well, and that's why we wanted him to do a pavilion. So that was it. It's a space where we wanted to empower, and we wanted to honor, and we wanted to dignify, and that's why having the 7 pavilions was that possibility where everybody can have, whoever's given that pavilion to do, will have the autonomy to do whatever they feel they want to do. It's like mini passions. It's like when Alan talks about we bring what we love and feel, and we wanted like mini versions of that as well in the Archifest. So we will have. We also had the student design competition. I really echo the need and the loss of our tactile and the craft, and how they can just play. I think play is missing, right? So that was also part of that as
One
well.
of the
Yes.
pavilions,
So
yeah.
yes, that's right. And therefore we will then try to honor the young. So we have as the students with the student design workshops. Then of course we have NUS, we have the YAL, the Young Architects, and then we will have big and small practices in there for the pavilions. And of course I spoke about that is how we can honor all the way to our pioneers, because then a chance and a platform for them to be mentors and guides as well, and to honor them and to honor all their work, and that was really what it was for me to create a space where we can all come in and love, I guess.
Yeah.
This interesting because there's one moment I remember that you were dancing with Cheng Xiong.
Yes.
And when was I can't even remember when it was, but that
I
image
think it was
started came
the final closing party.
That was great at the URA because I remember there was confetti and all.
confetti,
Yeah.
all this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this young and new, young and
Yeah.
old, and then past and present
You know, lots of
future
kids
coming
as well at
together.
the URA.
Kids,
Yeah.
they love the tactility of one of the pavilions, like running through the strings and all.
The chains.
The chains, yeah.
Yeah.
But the conference was something that I felt we got so many people from different disciplines talking, sharing, and from different perspectives. I think just being able to connect rather than over sort of lectures, right? Longer form lectures, which are important.
Yeah.
But we felt like for our conference, it was more about the conversations and the thematic, like the moderation and all that. Like to be able to hear, say, Anupama Kundu talking about the intelligence of making and craft, and then having Sukian talking about his work and all that, and architects have moved on to finance.
I'm just curious, and I haven't asked that question before, but I'm curious. What else did you consider? Like, did it just come to you and it was it, or?
It came quite quickly, didn't it?
No, I think I don't know. I can't remember.
As in, we knew, not the title,
You had the ballpark.
but we because
The
I
ballpark.
think it's like what Alan says, right? It's about
It's there.
it's
right?
something that
It's
you've been
been there.
thinking.
I can testify
It's-
that because I work in their office before. Love is in the air all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
We've had many weddings, you know.
Secretly continue SG.
Time to go home.
Now you know. Yeah.
No, interesting enough, my wife and I also work for Mangkok together, but we came pre-arranged. So.
But it's always something that you've been mulling on for a very long time. So it's about finding a way to frame it. That's all, right? So it's not that it's not like an empty slate. It's
It's not just
who we are. That's what
I believe
Alan's
it's always
saying.
there. Right.
That's right.
It's always
I think
there.
every Archifest director really bring out their own vision and personality into
Correct.
the right
Yeah.
craft.
Is it hard to
saving
put it
all-
out there though? I mean, do you ever feel like, oh, this is too personal, or
Yeah, it's vulnerable actually.
Very vulnerable.
Right, like you
Yeah.
don't know whether people will like accept
Exactly.
it.
oh, what's topical now?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do
Yeah.
Archifest about regeneration because it
Yeah.
is a great topic.
Yeah.
It might
Yeah.
not be what you're
Well,
about, but
yeah.
it makes it about something that everyone can relate to, and you kind of insulate yourself from it. But I feel like all of us and also all the other directors made it really personal.
So for us, I think our title is honestly the most unarchitectural and totally not
That's what you
academic
feel.
in the architectural field.
It is. I was surprised when I saw it.
Yeah, and
I
I'll
put some
be
very white on.
I'll be honest that when we threw it out, I think people didn't know how to
Which is
to
good.
receive it. They really didn't know. Oh no,
The order
This-
of
it's
love.
it's kind of emo, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's totally not architecture. So
But yet it's attractive.
yeah, but you know what it was?
Yeah.
We appreciate the trust,
Yeah, yes.
right?
Yes.
It
Yeah.
needed them to trust us.
Yeah.
and go, "Oh, well, what are these two up to?"
Right.
I remember the first time you gather the 7 group of people together. Wow, it's like we already know each other so well,
Yeah.
right? You know, there's
Party of friends,
so,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so eager to just make it happen and do it
The
together.
energy
I
was
think that's
so
the
good,
kind of-
right?
Yeah,
No,
love
like-
really
Not
transcends
like
beyond
you,
all
it's
this.
the yes. Every time the yes, right? You go, oh gosh, that was so good. Sorry, I just.
Yeah, and we also got like Sukian to mentor some of the young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
came and he was amazing. He said yes to bring his tender down as well.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
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 Any other
It's,
titles for 2020, or was that
well,
it? You knew you wanted to do
Again, it's
saving.
something that we were always trying to do because I've been involved in this kind of social space for
Yeah,
some time,
yeah,
and we
yeah.
want to do something. But I must thank the team who came up with that. It's really the whole team efforts. My partners, Feng Ying, Natasha, Diane, Si Hong, Zihua, they are the one who really have been going through many rounds of discussion, discarded every single other things in the end, and then realized that this is what really
what
capture.
it
Take
is.
out all the jargon. Basically,
Right.
we could just strike off all the jargons and everything, and
Right.
left with these few words, and then this is it. And then when we presented to SIA, I still remember everybody was like, well, it's such an ambitious kind of
It's very
slogan,
It's a-
right?
it's a big
Be like a
statement.
sloganish
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Of
Whether we
the-
can carry
Yeah.
through.
But we
It's a
are
big-
like that,
it's a
right?
big
Yeah,
call to
but we
action.
are. I mean, this is who we are. So
Right.
I'm very thankful. I think to Chi Huang, to Melvin at the time, they really spoke up. And then this is it. This is who we
Let's
are.
roll
and
with it.
Let's
Yeah.
go for it. Yeah.
How about you? I know you've been coming off the back of doing Singapore all that
Yeah.
year, so maybe there was something seated there.
That was a continuation, yes.
Yeah.
So that was something that the craft came very fast. I mean, everyone looking past, you see the we want the shortest possible word.
It is short, yeah.
It could have been love for you.
No, that would have been.
Yeah.
But, put order in.
Love, but not anyhow.
No, watch it.
Order. Yes. So yeah, I mean, it's I guess looking back, really just looking through the previous directors, right? It's very evident that if you understand, I mean, the community, you know that it came from the heart. You know, it was when you were a curator. And you came out, oh, that's of course you. Of course. You know, the innocent.
They say, of course.
No, that's it makes sense. If you were doing something else, what's this guy up to?
What
right?
prices are they going at?
Not
Come on,
authentic,
Eunice and
lah.
Soon came out with building agency. Of course,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't think of any.
Yeah.
So and then again, he was before me. He was
Yes.
doing the make a better place, right?
That's-
Better world.
Yeah.
Wow. So I mean that's interesting. That how honest and I guess it's a matter of crafting the
Crafting.
title. I think that's
That is true, and it's interesting because you are right. It doesn't just. And I think what's misunderstood potentially about Archifest, because there's always a festival director, and they tend to be given the spotlight. But there's this amazing engine
Team,
of minds, it's this kind of brain trust that enables what they do. I mean, at the end of the day, for accountability and also for people to know whom to call to ask things of or give a scolding to, you need that one or a couple in your case. But it's the work of a team, and without, in my case, without my wife Jiasin having those long. I remember we were walking around the back from Patterson towards Ngee Ann City, and I kept I had all these ideas, but I couldn't sort myself out. And then at some point I was ranting about architects just say all of these things, but where's the evidence? And I remember her turning around and saying, say what again? Say that again.
Oh,
my
wow.
stripes.
Because we just talk about, a lot of architects tend to either bravado or just wishful thinking. And somehow the way I'm wired, I'm not what one might call intuitive, because I think intuition is just stuff you've seen before that you're regurgitating through your pen. My process has always been try to be rational around why I'm doing, kind of step by step. So I'm looking for evidence of why am I doing what I'm doing. So when we interrogate the work, it doesn't just go binary, I like, I don't like. It's more like, well, this works because you wanted to achieve that. And I need evidence, damn it. And I said it, and she's like, that's good. That's your theme. Evidence.
Oh, wow.
Right? And And then I did present evidence, and suddenly it said like, ooh, it sounds a bit like you're a lawyer.
We're kind of like lawyers too. We are all of the
It's
above.
like evidence. Because I also liked the craft, because it was just craft, and I thought the same way, just evidence of what? We'll figure that out. It can be anything, right? And so we just maybe soften a little bit the very inquisitive interrogation word of evidence with design evidence. But that's kind of how it came to be.
What was that?
The power of the architect, we are like alchemists.
Right.
Yeah,
That's the
'cause
magic.
Magic. We are like magicians, right? From nothing, and then you suddenly, through your craft, you actually make something emerge.
Yeah.
So I think one question that needs to be asked is, obviously we're all very proud of our Archifest and of each other's Archifests. But do you sense collectively, looking at over 20 years of Archifest or however many you've attended or been part of, because I know some of you, there's so many kind of crossings of paths, because we all kind of supported before I got to kind of do my own. I helped a little bit on Alan's with some events, and I kind of got my teeth cut and so on. But do you think there are maybe some topics that somehow we never managed to address that you think future Archifests should address? Or types of kind of how to look at the world?
Big question.
Actually, strangely, when you ask that question, it's almost as if, hey, wait, that is what you ask of the director, Archifest director,
For the
right?
moment, like
And
at that moment
and
in
I'm going to
time.
say I think it's something that Alan said about how each and everyone, while he was speaking about how you bring out your passion and what you believe in,
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that it should just keep it as an open platform, and I want to be surprised. I
Right.
want to be made curious. I want to see what speaks to that person's heart and what it ignites in mine. So it's like no, because then I'm gonna I'm gonna be limited by me to
That's
think
true.
of what to say, right? So I would rather go into each Archifest and
Discover it
just
anew.
discover it. Yes.
Maybe on that note, it's probably time to wrap up with what we try to do every session, which is give a very brief, unsolicited advice to future future Archifest directors, and something that you would want them to keep in mind as they take on this wonderful festival and become
Yeah.
custodians of its future. What would you say to them?
Wow. I just say be authentic, be passionate, bring that passion, and ignite with what you do.
Maybe for me, is to be authentic to who you are and what you believe in, and reach out to your friends.
Reach out to your friends.
I'm going to repeat that. Be yourself, be curious, and continue to work your own path.
Alan?
Yeah, I mean, yes, of course, be yourself, right? But I think with that context, make more friends, right? Like-minded friends. Not so like-minded friends as well.
Yes. That's true.
I think that's the perfect opportunity,
Yeah.
right? To kind of do it outside of work, right? Outside of school. Because you are given that, I would say, relatively safe environment to be able to do that and achieve it. I think that's important, incredibly physical, right?
Well, on that very optimistic note, dear like-minded friends, and less like-minded, if you're watching, we want you as part of the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to ArchitectuREAL, a special edition celebrating 20 years of Archifest. This podcast is brought to you by the Singapore Institute of Archifest. Stay tuned. Singapore Institute of Architects! There goes my gig. Stay tuned for future ones, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank God I have a different day job.
See ya.